Are you really giving up anything? No, you're not. You're just saving yourself from misery. I'm just saving myself from the misery of drinking. Now, with casual sex, it's a little bit more tricky. So I recently received a question on my blog or on my YouTube channel, and somebody was just telling me, Sean, how is it possible that you, at your age, youngish age, that you have given up porn, casual sex, smoking, drinking, and all the other stuff? And the way I see it, and it's very interesting that I actually even see it this way because I was seeing it the other way for so long, is that I actually don't see it as I'm giving up anything. So in my reality, in my world that I'm getting more in touch with, and I'm still kind of going back and forth between the two worlds, but in the new world that I'm living, I'm not giving up anything. How is that possible? Well, it all comes down to the paradigm and how I see this, how I see sex, how I see smoking, how I see drinking as. Whereas before, I was seeing it as ultimate pleasure. Now, I can actually see it, not making myself believe it, but actually seeing how it's actually causing me pain and misery. And I know on a surface level, it's hard to see this because we're so conditioned because everybody else is doing it. Everybody else is having sex. Everybody else, or by sex, I mean casual sex and random hookups. Everybody else is drinking. Everybody else is smoking. And smoking, maybe not in Canada or United States, but if you're anywhere in Asia, smoking is completely norm. So in Canada and US, it's so easy to not smoke because people just look at you as some kind of a loser, especially during daytime. At nighttime is more acceptable. But here in East Asia, it's everywhere, and it's so cheap. It's about $1 or $2, so cheap. So everybody's doing it, so you feel like, hey, everybody's doing it, it must be something good. And we are actually brainwashed to feel like it's actually fun. But I have discovered, thankfully, that it's actually not fun. So for me, in my mind, I'm actually not giving up anything. I'm not giving up anything. So there's two ways, actually, to quit an addiction. One way is to use your willpower, and you feel like you're really disciplining your mind. You're like, I'm gonna make it to this day, to this date. I'm not going to, do smoke, drink, have casual sex, whatever. You actually have a date in mind that you want to reach. But and you constantly say, okay, so this date, I've been good for this date, and you're using your willpower. Another way of doing it, which is an amazing way, which I learned this by a guy named Alan something. He wrote the book, Quit Smoking the Easy Way. I learned this from him, is that realize that you're actually not giving up anything. You're not giving up anything. You're not using your willpower. Don't use your willpower because your willpower is going to come to an end. And by using willpower, what you're really telling yourself is that I'm going to give up soon. I'm just trying to wait when I'm going to give up. But with this other way of thinking, you realize how each of these addictions not only are not making you feel good, it's actually making you feel miserable. So you don't feel like you're giving it up. You actually feel like you're actually free from a painful situation. So how is this possible? Let me go over each of them. So first off, it's smoking. It's very obvious. Not so obvious to a smoker. Very obvious to a non-smoker, but not so obvious. So if you're a smoker, this part will be interesting to you. If you're not, you can skip ahead. But anyway, smoking is a very good example because it applies to all the other addictions. So smoking starts, then it applies to drinking, applies to casual sex, and applies to porn, and applies to all the other stuff. So smoking. So with the smoking, it actually seems on a surface level, it appears that we actually really, or to a smoker, it appears that, wow, it actually feels really good to smoke. Or you see someone smoking, or let's say you quit smoking and you see someone smoking, you actually envy the person because you feel like they have something and you cannot have it because they're smoking and you can't. But really, what's happening is that if you really go deep and you look, the first time you had a cigarette, you actually did not enjoy it. You actually had to force yourself. It smelled really bad. Your body didn't like it. Now, with persistent, you toxified your body, changed your taste bud, changed how you smell things, and you became immune to the nastiness of the cigarette. And what happened, the nicotine is now in your brain, and it makes you become in a state of unease and tension. So let's say you were feeling this good before you start smoking, and now, after you smoke, you actually, instead of tension, so you actually brings your happiness down to here. So you're under the scale of tension. So you need to have a cigarette just to bring you back up to the normal level. Whereas a non-smoker is at this level consistently. So you're not really giving anything up. You're actually trying to constantly get back up by giving yourself enough nicotine to your brain to feel normal again. So that's what it is with the smoking. So it's very easy with the smoking. And once you stop giving your body nicotine for a while, you become like a non-smoker, which you feel good constantly. You don't actually feel that unease, that feeling of needing to have a cigarette. And also realizing that smoking itself doesn't actually feel good. It's the nicotine in it that makes you makes you hooked. So same thing with drinking. With the drinking, it's also you're not giving up anything, or I'm not giving up anything by stop drinking, because I realize it actually causes me so much pain and suffering to drink. So let's start. First of all, it starts by cutting off my prefrontal cortex, my logical mind out, right? So no more logical mind. That means I say things that I normally would not say. I do things that I normally would not do. I hang out with people that I normally would not hang out. So that's the frontal cortex is gone. Then it actually puts me, in about 5 hours, I've lost my logical mind. After that, what happens is that it leaves me for about 48 hours. It completely destroys my self-esteem, my well-being, and it increases the ANTs, ANTs, automatic negative thoughts. So it increases my automatic negative thoughts about my life. So that means I become less hopeful about my life, I become less confident, I become less motivated, and everything else just goes down for 2 days after. On the top of that, it actually reduces my muscle mass, it increases my body fat, it's expensive in most countries. Even in Asia, it seems cheap, but it's actually expensive. If you actually drink every day, it's going to be expensive. And those are the reasons for the drinking. And here's the best part. Though you may say, no, but when I drink, I actually have a lot of good fun. I actually laugh, I actually have fun. But the reality is, if you look at the people who are smoking, it may appear that they're having fun. Or yourself, if you see your videos of yourself drunk, it may appear that you were really happy and you're having fun. But really, were you really happy? If you really grab a microscope and look at your experience at the experiential level, it's actually not happiness. It's an illusion of happiness. How do I mean that? Because, when people are laughing and drunk, their laugh has a certain quality to it. Right? Like somebody says something like a joke and everybody's like, ha 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 ha, and they all laugh and they're laughing their ass off, and sometimes like you laugh so hard you feel like you're gonna die. But if you really look at the quality of that laugh, it's empty. It actually doesn't feel good. It's almost like an automatic body response because there's nobody home. You're just an animal. There's no logical mind to actually appreciate and having the awareness to appreciate the presence of this joy and happiness. So you're unconscious. It's like a dream. It's like a dream. Next thing you know, boom, lights go out and you're awake, hangover. That's what it is. It's just like drugs. Just like all the other drugs, they do the same thing. It's like a dream. They put you in a dream state. So after that, if you look at somebody who is present, and right now, let's say you're not drunk and you're watching this video and you laugh your ass off over something, and there's a different quality to this laugh because you're more present. So with drinking also, you're not giving up anything. You're not giving up the fun because the laughter is empty, and you're not giving anything up because all the drinking does, it puts you in a state of unconsciousness. It puts you in a state of dream and superficial relationship, which you normally, it actually means meaningless to you, and leaves you hangover. So are you really giving up anything? No, you're not. You're just saving yourself from misery. I'm just saving myself from the misery of drinking. Now, with casual sex, it's a little bit more tricky because we've been so conditioned to feel like it's cool to have sex with as many girls as we can. If you're a guy like me, you've been conditioned like that. So you've been conditioned to think it's cool. It says something about me. If this girl is having sex with me, that means I'm cool. That means I'm approved. Or other guys look up to you. They're like, wow, this guy's getting laid left and right. Such a cool guy. Wow, amazing. So people, it actually feels like your confidence is increasing. But really what's happening is that it's called brainwashing. For me, to be able to give this up, the realization was is that I actually do not enjoy the feeling of casual sex. And what do I mean by that, by casual sex? Casual sex, I'm referring to the sex that I have with someone who I know that I have no interest in being with again ever. And actually, not just that, but actually she doesn't share my values. I only want to have sex with her for a physical pleasure of my own self. That's what I call a casual sex. Now, if I meet someone who has the same mindset as me and I feel love towards her, and there's a possibility of us for being together, then if sex happens automatically, great. That's fine. That's a totally different thing. But I'm talking about the feeling of desiring and going to chasing girls and just trying to just get, like, let me have sex. That's the feeling I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, casual sex. which is exactly the same as porn. So to me, in my reality, porn and casual sex are one and the same, no difference. Actually, sometimes porn is even, it could be even more better because you have more variety. But anyway, that's another topic. So they're both the same, and they're both a big trap. And they're both an illusion of fun. They're actually not fun. And how do you say that? We say that, Sean, you've gone crazy? Of course it's fun. Casual sex is fun. And especially if you haven't had sex for a while. If you haven't had sex for a while, like I didn't for a long time, and I was craving sex for a long time, and I was feeling like, wow, you know, casual sex, that would be so good to just have sex. But really you realize that once you do it, what's happening here is that you start off by spending time with someone that you actually don't appreciate at all. So the feeling that you get, first of all, you have to use a condom. So that already goes most of the fun right there. So the condom totally ruins the experience of sex because it just sucks. Let's just be honest. Condoms usually suck. But we have to wear condom because of obvious reasons. You'll die otherwise, and it's just the guilt and worrying and fear after of it, of did I get her pregnant, am I sick, is not worth not using a condom. So you gotta use a condom. So you use a condom. And then after that, there's two things can happen. You're either gonna like the sex that you had, or you're not gonna like the sex that you had. It's either gonna be a good sex or it's gonna be a terrible sex. If it's a terrible sex, but it's obvious, it's a terrible sex, so you just wasted all your time, energy, and mixed up your energy with someone, and you just had a terrible sex, and now you're gonna be craving good sex, so you're gonna have to go chase more women to get that good feeling of sex that you think you're after. Or it would be a good sex, and it actually feels good. So if it feels good, you still won't be able to, you want to have more of it, but you can because it's a casual sex. You don't like this person, you don't want to see this person, and if you want to see her, it's only going to be for the sexual part, and all the other things about this person is going to piss you off. So once you have sex with it, after you have to deal with all the negative consequences after, and then the other person may develop feelings towards you, and you don't want her, so you have to break your heart, or you have to stop lying to her, so you feel good, you feel bad about yourself, and all the other story that can happen. So if it's a good sex, you still suffer, because you're gonna crave more of it, and more of it either won't be available, or if it's available, it's gonna be causing you more pain. So that's the two things. Or it's gonna be terrible sex, and you don't want to see her ever again. Anyway, so those are the two things. So with smoking, with drinking, and with casual sex, we realize that we're actually not giving up anything, and the feeling we're really after in a sexual department, we're after that feeling of connected to somebody else, somebody who shares our values, somebody who we can express our love towards, somebody we can be with without judgment, somebody we can be ourselves with without worrying when I'm gonna come, when is she gonna come, what is she gonna think of my dick, what is she gonna, say about me, what is all these things, what is going on in her mind, because you really know that she's like one of you, right? And it's like the experience is so good, you can have it again and again without feeling guilt or shame, and whether it's gonna be a relationship after or not, great. It doesn't matter because you're not worried about that, right? So those are the three things. So that's why when I said I quit those things, I actually didn't give up anything. And it's not like I'm some kind of saint or some kind of a like some kind of a hero that I'm doing that. No, it's actually I'm very selfish. That's why I'm doing it, because I don't want to experience pain. That's why I'm doing it. Now, the only thing that I can say, because I saw this differently for many years, the only thing that has difference in my experience right now is that I'm meditating morning and night. Every single day I meditate morning and night. And I think what happens with meditation is that it actually makes you see reality in a new way, whereas before I wasn't seeing it. So if you feel like, if what I'm telling you right now, it sounds like complete, maybe it's going to make sense to you, and at some level, maybe it doesn't. But if you try to meditate and actually kind of calm your mind and be still, and then go ahead, go engage in smoking, go engage in drinking, go engage in casual sex, do it. But do it consciously. Actually, I don't think you can drink consciously, but do it anyway and see what I said in this video is true for you. And if it's true for you, then you're not giving up anything. You just stop doing it and you focus on what you really want to do. And if it's not true for you, great. Maybe post a comment and say you did that and it wasn't true for me. Great. I look forward to seeing your comments and your results. Have a good day. Talk to you soon.